Healing the witch wound. So this week is turning into a bit of a witchy week, what with my Ceridwen video and now healing the witchy wound. But it's very, very much in alignment with the Ma'at month, as I've been calling it. You know, the Egyptian goddess Ma'at is the goddess of cosmic truth, law, order, balance, and justice, right? So just on that, just to remind you, this Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Africa time, free masterclass with me in my temple, aka my Zoom room. Come and join us, okay? Because we're going to be working with the alchemy teachings of Sept, Hathor, and Ma'at, and it's completely free, and it's all about joining the community, which is what I'm going to be talking about a lot in this video. Come join us, and the link for the Zoom room will be in this post. So now, as I move on, going with the order and balance of Ma'at, now, to be able to get into order and balance, we need to start addressing things that have come up that are still deeply subconscious that are coming up right now. And my witch wound, okay, has actually floated into my space in this month of September. And I believe that is because Ma'at's been like, you know, kind of sending all this energy down of just like, right, everything needs to be balanced, subconscious, conscious, whatever, right? So now what happened is my witch wound kind of floated to the surface and came on my radar right in the middle when I was having a mother meltdown. And I'm just trying to think about what the meltdown was about because I've had consistently millions of them this month. So I can't actually remember, but I remember literally purging from my belly and feeling a lot of fear, a lot of fear in my being. And I remember pulling myself together, coming home, pressing play on a random audio book, and it was like healing the witch wound. Well, I thought, well, I'll listen to this for 5 minutes. 3 hours later, I was still listening to it. I'm going to share with you the details of that audio book because I think it's going to help you unlock memory, bring awareness, and just hear it, release it, clear it. I don't think that we need to be deep diving into major things like now to do with like, you know, specific subject matters. I think at this stage of the game, having an awareness and an allowance for these kind of like shadows to come into your space, I think awareness is enough. Your heart is open, allow it to come into your sacred cauldron and be able to kind of like clear any shadow that is actually lurking around. Be open like a portal. So that's what I feel like, you know, all that needs to be done with this witch wound. Now, what is so interesting, 10,000 men were actually taken to their deaths, as well as all the women as well. Now, we know that the women was obviously a grander scale, but there were 10,000 dudes in there as well. So it wasn't just women, it was men as well. Now, where we are right now in 2024, we are all being surged, purged, pushed forward to be in our true, authentic expression. Be creative, be seen for who you are, sharing your gifts and abilities with the world, being unapologetically you. And of course, we are feeling that's why all the purging's been happening. So now we're being called forward. We got the memo. We're trying to step forward. And then we're like, oh no, there's this kind of like step forward, step back that's happening at the same time. A sacred yes and a sacred no, right? Now, that is because there are certain things still deeply subconscious that haven't been given the space to come to the surface yet. One of them is the witch wound. One of them is most definitely the witch wound, right? So now this gives us spiritual hemorrhoids. It's what I call the push and the pull. The yes, I'm going to go, and then absolutely not, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. And we don't know why. And then we get this resistance and we just crazy psychosis, feeling like you're a Fruit Loop. Did I say that out loud? This is me. But that's what I've been going through. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I've been working a lot with Ceridwen, the dark mother, the goddess, the witch, the crone. She assisted me with this. So she kind of brought this witch wound to the surface. And I was like, oh my God, randomly pressed play on this audio book and then proceeded to just cry my eyes out for 3 hours as I connected with all of the resonant messages that came through this audio book. So like I say, listen to it, see how you go. But what I want to share with you that came to the surface that made so much sense as to why I can't creatively step forward to the level that I want to is because last time I did, there's part of me that remembers got taken out for it. We died. We got put on a fire. We got taken out by the masses. Our community turned on us. You know, 1 minute we're healing families and delivering babies and being celebrated for it. And then the next minute we're basically being hunted. And, you know, not only hunted, but like severe, horrific things were put upon us, which basically we hold in our physical bodies. I know I do. I know I have certain pains and things going on in my body, which definitely relates to the witchy wound and a lot of the torture and things like that. I don't want to get too gruesome with it, but it's true. It's true. And we need to release that. And there's no good in pushing that down, going, ew, gross. No, I don't want to do that. We have to look at that. We just have to have understanding as to what a very, very intense timeline that was and how much it's in our lineage, right? So now, stepping forward into this life at this timeline, we got to move forward with this. So let's not get caught up in the story too much. Let's just give awareness and a lot of love and a lot of compassion to that soul aspect of us that holds the witch wound. So now I'm going to go through a list that might resonate with you to do with some of the things as to why we can't move forward. Now, number one on my list is trust. Trust. We don't trust that easily. We don't trust spirit that easily. And that became very aware to me when I was in Avalon. And I remember kind of like day 3, day 4, trying to on my soul pilgrimage. Why can I not move forward? Why am I not having the experience I want to have here? And then I sat around the sacred well late at night, rain pouring down. And I smelt this beautiful anointing oil. And I was like, that's weird. There's no flowers. That's weird. Where's that smell coming from? And then perfume came round again and it was the mothers. And then I just got this huge of a gasp of air. And then I just cried and cried and cried. And then they spoke and they said, you do not trust the mothers. You let go of that somewhere in one of your past lives. You know what I mean? Somewhere you lost trust for the mother. And I was like, wow, that was powerful. So I'm sharing that with you because that's going to have some resonance to do with your connection with spirit. Because how many times have we been through horrific lifetimes and we've gone, spirit, where are you? Even Yeshua had a moment with his dad when he was like, God, have you forsaken me? I'm on this cross, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? For God's sake, there you go. But that's what happened. Have you forsaken me? Because it's like, did you forget about me? And then we probably died many times actually thinking that we were forgotten. And that's not true. That wasn't true at all. So now trust. Also, people around us, look at like how it was back there in the witchy times. Like Sarah down the road, you called her bonnet ugly and you didn't like her boots or something like that. Or maybe you took a pig and you didn't pay for it. I don't know. But like, she's now got pissed off with you. So people are like, who's a witch in this village? She is. Definitely her. So some of us got thrown under the bus when we weren't even a healer or in any of the things. It was just from jealousy from another. A lot of women turned on other women because it was dangerous for other women to be with each other because we got accused of having witches' covens and whatever, right? So it was very, very bad to actually have women together. That's why we turned on each other. So there's a lot of divine feminine toxicity there as well. But that just in general, you would have been thrown under the bus by many. And that's the persecution and the judgment. So no wonder you don't want to step out in the fullness of your gifts right now. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. And this is what all this video is about. Just to make sense of it, have an awareness on it, let it in, let it up, let it just be, So now the next one, quite obvious. Point number 2, hiding. I want you to take your journal on this. How many of you hide in a way that keeps you running programs that keeps you under the radar? I'm going to share one with you that I used to do. I used to go into all spiritual groups or any teacher group. And years ago, I used to walk in and ask the teacher the question of what I knew the answer to. So they could flex and I could give them the glory. And then they knew that I wasn't a threat. And I'd fluff their ego so I could just be undetected. Nobody's going to take me out. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I used to do. But that was a very clever program because it worked. It did work, you know what I mean, for a time, So where do you run programs that keep you super small, right? There's also, where do you run programs where you go super big to protect yourself? There are 2 methods that one keeps themselves safe, right? One is basically being really small, okay, when energies come around you, like really small in a crowd. Or you can be the bully where you flex big and you're like, yeah, man, and you're just out there larger than life, a bit too much. And then what happens is that also keeps you safe, keeps your little you safe. So there's 2 ways that you can do that. Are you the bully or are you the little armadillo in your shell, right? Both programs you're running there are still serving the same purpose. Because you're scared inside, right? So it may be that you need to look at your programs that you're running, and maybe it's not about you being small and hiding. Maybe you hide in a different way where you're a bully. Look at that. And you wonder why everybody's coming at you, bro. Do you know what I mean? Those things are imbalances, right? So yeah, so where's the repression of your power? Where are you pulling it back? And, you know, are you scared about talking about your spiritual self in front of others? Or are you scared to talk about the fullness of what you can do in case people get jealous of you? Jealousy is a big thing. And I tell you what, back in the day, you know, even back in Egypt, you know, in the mystery schools, jealousy was back then. That's when the downfall of these mystery schools happened. So it's not, this is not a non-truth, okay? So I want you to be aware in your everyday life now, where is it that you dim your light? And then maybe make a counter list as to where you can actually express your light being unapologetically you. If you didn't give a fuck about what people thought, sorry to swear, but it's the truth. If you didn't give a fuck about what people thought, how would you behave in your day? If you knew that you couldn't fail, how would you behave in your day? But I think the biggest one is if you didn't give a shit about what people thought about you, how else would you be living? That's a big one, because we're so scared of judgment and persecution, which is why half of us, I speak to so many of you, you want to do a YouTube channel or put something else on Insta or wherever it is you want to express yourself, and you're worried that people are going to take you out. You're going to worry that people are going to troll you. I've had many trolls and they've said some horrific things to me. And I'm like, and it is a bit stingy sore, but very quickly you get over that, right? Because in a way it's part of the healing, right? But it happens, okay? So that is another thing that keeps us small, right? Because like, I don't want to put a post out there in case somebody's horrible to me, but you can't live like that. So we need to clear the witchy wound out of the way, okay? Now, my last point, because I always like 3 points. My last point, I mean, there are loads, but my last point is do you live in a non-spiritual place? What's your environment looking like? Do you live in a place where you can't be spiritually you? Do you live in a place where everybody's actually quite closed in 3D? And if that's the case, if that's a yes, well, brilliant. What a powerful program you put into place. What a great strategy. Keeps you small, keeps you safe, keeps you undetected. Let me move about the people without being seen. Now that worked to a point, because in the witchy wound, that's a winner, right? That's a winner. You're not going to get a spike up your bum this time. Do you know what I mean? You ain't going to be put on the fire this time. So do you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's a good strategy, okay? But it's not needed anymore, which is why your wheels are spinning, which is why you're feeling soups uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Because you now want to move. So what that's going to feel like to you now is you're, you know, like this very, very pangy feeling inside of loneliness, needing to find your tribe. You know what I mean? Feeling like disconnected, ousted. So in a way, by running that strategy now, what could be coming up for you now, and the next layer of that is like, now you're actually feeling like, you know, you've been ousted by the village and you might as well be living on the outside of the woods where nobody cares about you and nobody wants anything to do with you. So, you know what I mean? But back in the day when the witch days were good, living on the outside of the woods, nobody bothered you. You know, it's peaceful. You could build your own little bonfires, go and pick your plants. Everybody like traveled out to you to come like for healing. And like, yeah, nobody was in your face because they came and went. That was great. But then, of course, the witchy wound came along, and then, of course, it was more like being ousted. So there's the duality: separation or oneness, separation or oneness. You know what I mean? So that is going to be interesting. If you're one of those people that are living in a place where there's nobody around you like you, it's time for that to change. And as I said before, and in all my other videos, you have a perfect portal to do that in. Thursday, my arts group, free masterclass, 5 p.m. Central Africa time. If you do nothing at all, step out and find your community. Come join us on Thursday and just, you know, start to find your people. Start to come be with your people, you know. So this is, my dears, The Witchy Wound. Now, the last thing to share with you is the book that I was listening to on Audible, which is called Heal the Witch Wound by, can't read my writing, Celeste Larson. It might read that because I've got such doctor's writing. But Heal the Witch Wound, Celeste Larson. Okay, that's such a good audio book, and I've listened to it just at my own pace, and it really has unlocked aha moments, brought quite a few tears, but it's helped me just listening to it in my car, being at home. It's helped ever such a lot. So I do hope that this lands. I do hope it helps you with your healing. It's Witchy Week, clearly. Witchy Week in my art month. So there you go. What's not to love? But as always, thank you for watching. And, you know, and I always forget to remind you guys, please do subscribe and put your notifications on, because I'm really ramping it up now. And I'm now stepping out and being seen, because I'm now starting to get active on here, which has taken me a long time to step out, because that was my version of just doing a little bit but pulling back. But now I'm doing lives on portal days, and I'm also doing the live masterclasses as well, which are totally free. So that's my version of me stepping into the ring. You know what I mean? And so even people like myself get scared, even though I'm on YouTube, it's hard to be seen, but that's my version of doing that. So if you want to be part of that and get notified when those free classes come online, especially the lives, because those are all ceremonies, put your notifications on. And also as well, helps other people find us, because I'm all about my Batman sign in the sky and bringing community to this place, you know. So the more we kind of like, you know, share our light, shine our Batman sign in the sky, more people come. And that's the whole purpose why I get out of bed in the morning. Do you know what I mean? For this and for you. But anyway, peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.